Hi, Jay.
Hello, Katie.
Welcome to the studio.
Hello.
It's just you and I today.
Yep.
Are you nervous?
A little bit.
You look a little nervous. You look a little uncomfortable. We're getting our giggles out early because this is not actually a laughing matter. I'm going to give a little light backstory, and then I kind of want you to I'll have to ask you some questions about your backstory on this. Okay. So for anyone who doesn't know or remember, we had a flood in 2016. So 8 years ago. It was in August, and it was due to a tropical storm. It didn't get to tropical storm.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, it didn't get to tropical. That is a very relative description.
Yeah.
It didn't get to tropical storm, like named storm or hurricane level, because the wind wasn't bad.
Yep.
But what happened was it sat on top of us for like a couple of days and dropped 36 inches of rain in like 48 hours, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
So everything, all of our rivers. And
we had been getting a bunch of rain for weeks before that.
So very similar to what I'm hearing, I think, sounds like what happened in Atlanta, in Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee. These areas were already getting a lot of rain.
Yep.
And then Hurricane Helene comes through Florida and then up through those areas and then caused a lot of flooding. So point being, we had a flood in 2016. 110,000 homes were affected. And you at the time were doing renovations.
Yep.
You had your contractor's license.
Yep.
So tell them what you like. How do you have a point of reference of this? Like, what were you doing?
So at the time, I was remodeling several houses, and then this flood happened, and all of a sudden, there was just my phone was ringing off the hook.
Yeah, like you had to change your number.
I had to change my phone number and give this phone to an assistant just so it wasn't ringing all day. It was pretty chaotic for a little while. And then,
what happens is immediately everyone needs the contractor, right?
Yeah, everybody starts trying to find the first contractor they can to get on the list.
Okay, and I think we'll just stop there for a second because I made a note that why we're recording this is a bonus episode, y'all. Obviously, Alyssa's not here.
Yep.
It's just we wanted to make just a really quick, some timely information for anyone who is impacted because as of this recording, it is Tuesday. This happened on, Thursday and Friday, I guess Friday and Saturday of last week in some of these areas. Some people are still being rescued. Like the water, I don't know if it has receded in most places. So no one's out there running to do any of these things yet, but they will be in the next couple of days. Right. And It's the desperation level of the people affected that will cause you to just maybe take any contractor, right? Like just anybody who comes along
bad decisions.
Yeah, and
without thinking long term or even short term,
Right. So we're going to try and give you some tips if you were affected or if you know someone who was affected to not make bad decisions.
Correct.
Right? And to tell you maybe what you can do yourself while you have to wait in line for that contractor.
Yep.
Right? Okay. I'm sorry. So continue. People were ringing you off the hook.
So people were ringing me off the hook. And I had never done any insurance claims before. So even that was a whole new world to me, trying to figure that out and then read how they did their bill of work and how detailed it. And so we had to learn all that and then start using that and, putting that into our system. And
which you were used to doing with like just a regular renovation.
Yeah. Just not nearly as detailed as writing, 16.5 foot of baseboard on this wall and then, 5 feet on this wall and,
Right. And you hired an insurance expert at some point in this process.
Some point yes. I'd hired someone who had done it a lot more. Yes.
Yeah. And had he been an adjuster before?
In Texas, yeah.
He had been an adjuster.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to come back around to that. First things first. Someone is listening to this whose home has flooded. What is the very first thing they should do? Maybe what if they haven't even gotten back into their house yet?
I'm not even sure. I don't know what you can do without actually getting into your house. Contact your insurance company, of course.
Okay.
Get the ball rolling there. Get on their list with your insurance adjuster. That's number one. You got to get the adjuster to your house so you can get money.
And we're not insurance experts, but
no.
If it was a flood, rising water is not covered by your homeowner's insurance.
Got me.
Right. So make sure you call your insurance agent and find out what kind of insurance do you have and does it apply to this? Because if the insurance you have does not apply to this, then you're going to need to apply to FEMA to get
Correct.
some type of relief there.
Yep.
And when it was 8 years ago in our market, that ended up being like, I feel like $36,000 for some reason is stuck in my head, but there was a number and you would apply and show the proof of your damage. So call your insurance company would probably be the thing you want to do if you haven't gotten to your home yet.
Correct.
Also, I know a lot of people here, like we have pods.
Mhm.
So a lot of people called and reserved a pod to be delivered so they could, the things
Get out
that
the
they
stuff
were.
that can be salvaged and get it out the house as fast as you can.
Okay, right. So tip number 1, get the stuff out of your house that
Yes.
can be salvaged as fast as you can. What are some of the things that can be salvaged?
Anything that didn't get touched by water.
So just the stuff that didn't
or if
touch
it,
the water.
Or if it did get touched by water, like clothes and stuff, they can be cleaned.
Okay.
There are a lot of laundromats in town who actually did it for free.
During that
Were
time.
flooded. Yeah, they did it for free for a little while.
Yeah, during that time, I also remember a lot of churches or other charity organizations had volunteers who were just doing laundry for people.
That's right.
Like you could
Yeah.
drop off your
Just
clothes.
a basket of laundry,
Yeah,
and they would
to
just run it for you.
and someone would do it for you. Someone
Yep.
who wasn't affected, had power, all that stuff.
Yep.
Okay, what are some of the construction components that maybe someone would think couldn't be saved that can be saved?
All right, so we're going to come back to that in a little bit.
Okay.
So I was going to say first, get out the stuff that your belongings that you want that can be salvaged.
Okay.
Leave the construction stuff for later. Just your belongings that can be salvaged. Get all that stuff out.
Okay.
Then you want to start gutting the house. I tell people all the time, 3 inches of water in your house is just as bad as 3 feet of water in your house.
Okay. Why?
Because water gets in here and touches 3 inches of water is the flooring, the baseboard, the cabinets, the doors, your door frames. I mean, it's a lot.
Right.
So then you have to go and cut the base or your sheetrock up. You want to figure out where the water level stopped and then measure up at least 1 foot above that and then cut that right there.
Okay. And the water level, typically you can see the line
You'll
of where
see
the
a
water
line.
was,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
It's
but the
obvious somewhere.
sheetrock, am I correct that it pulls the water up?
It does suck up. So you got to find where the water level, where it stopped being wet. So also one of these things you need to do is get a moisture meter.
A moisture meter.
Yep. It's
Can you get that on, like,
You can get that
Amazon?
Amazon, Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever. It's
Okay.
got 2 probes in it. It's got a 9-volt battery in or something like that. That you stick the probes into the wall and it tells you how much moisture is in it.
Okay.
I think most anything, if it's sitting in there, your wall is going to be wet for a little while. But anyways, you want to figure out where that is and then cut up a foot.
From wherever the last high moisture reading was.
Correct.
So maybe the water line is here, like at 2 feet, but it has wicked up to 2.5 feet. You've
Yeah.
got to cut it 3.5 feet.
Yep. And I say if it's under 4 feet, just go to 4 feet and cut right there.
Because the sheet of
Because it's going to be a full sheet of sheetrock no matter what.
yeah, it's not where it's actually making it,
makes it
more
more
costly,
difficult,
right? Okay, so let's say that one more time.
And the insurance adjuster is not going to ding you for cutting 4 feet and not 3 feet.
Right, because then you'd have to be cutting all these pieces of sheetrock.
You'd have so much extra waste as well.
It would just be wasted.
Yep.
Okay, so if you're got to cut to 3, you got to just cut to 4.
You might as well just cut to 4.
Is
Yep.
there
And you don't have to bend over as far.
so basically like even 3 inches were people here cutting up to 4? Like even if they had 3 inches of water?
No, I remodeled a house that they only cut 1, but if they had just done the 4, like again, the insurance adjuster wouldn't have dinged them for it.
I see. Okay. Can we
Because at that point you have to mud that spot, you have to mud up so far,
Yeah.
and then the insurance company is not going to pay you to just paint right there. They're going to pay you for the entire wall.
right, because you can't paint half a wall.
You can't paint half a wall.
Okay, that's a great point. But we need to back
So-
up again. Before you start cutting this out, you have to take pictures of everything.
Yes. Go back, take pictures of everything. You want to just take pictures of every single wall, every single room.
Do you know if they have to
Flooring.
be
You want to take pictures of the model numbers of your appliances that are
okay?
attached to the house: refrigerator, washer, dryer, your water heater if it happened to get wet.
Do you remember if these photos had to be date and time stamped?
It would be best if they are.
So is
There's
that
a
is
setting
that an
on your
app?
cell phone?
Oh, there's a setting on the
There's
phone.
a setting on your phone. It's date and time stamp sort of thing. It's on
Okay.
there. It'd just be in.
So,
and
like-
the metadata, you could also make sure your metadata on your phone is also turned on. As
on.
well. Yeah,
But you got to be able to prove the photos.
we're in your house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or when they were taken.
I don't remember that really
Being a big
thing.
it wasn't
but-
like a red flag. Who
I mean,
knows?
you
8 years
you
later,
could take
though,
it with a film, and it wouldn't.
a film camera.
Yeah,
But those put the date on them.
sure.
It's I think it's just printed on them.
Yeah.
No one's taking film camera
Whatever.
photos. It's fine. Okay, so take a picture of everything. Inside, outside?
Yeah, inside and outside.
Okay. Did you ever have any pushback from insurance that were like, oh, well, if you had a picture of this, then you would have been able to get something else covered? Or was it?
Don't think so, because a lot
Okay.
of stuff is just, they also go to the point where they're just understood that it was there.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. What about if they've already started gutting it? Like I remember when we had the sink overflow, when we had our flooring damaged.
So you want to salvage a piece of the flooring.
But we had a pile of basically debris. We had to get out the wet stuff.
Yes.
But the insurance adjuster didn't come the next day. And when you're in a situation like this, you're in line.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people waiting for their insurance adjuster to come. So you are going to be gutting your home prior to your insurance adjuster getting there.
Absolutely. So that's why you want to take pictures of everything.
Because the key is to get it out quickly.
Correct.
What happens if you take longer?
And if you're listening to this now, you should go ahead and take pictures of your stuff while it looks nice and just for future use, for insurance purposes.
Oh, if you're not flooded.
If you're not
if you're a non-affected person just listening to this for information, you should, but that's the case for if your house caught fire or you should have a video or a photo of everything in your home, probably updated once a year.
Yes. Especially if you have contents coverage on your insurance.
Okay. So they go in, they take their photos. Let's go back to the gutting, I guess. Is that what's next?
Yes.
Do people need
turn off the power if it's not already off?
Oh, turn off the power.
Yep. Turn off the water.
Turn off the water.
Yep. Because somebody cutting in the wall is going to cut your water.
Oh, this is a good point. So we don't want to flood it again.
Correct. Well,
or more, or in a different place.
Yeah.
And gas. So turn off all your utilities.
Yeah.
Now, what if the utilities were out due to the storm and you still need to go?
You probably want to go cut the breaker off anyways, just in case.
Okay. Keep going.
Yep. So you cut up, 4 feet on the drywall. So when you get in water in your house, your doors are gone because they're going to swell. Your door frames are going to swell. So you take the door frame off, the header, all of that as well. Cabinets, any cabinets that got wet. So
what about if it's a real wood cabinet? Like an
same
actual
thing. It's all plywood. It's just gonna
okay.
break apart. Yep.
Okay.
But you also want to take pictures. So while you have pictures of everything, you're going to know that you can't cheat the insurance company and say, oh, I had stained cabinets before, but when your pictures say you actually had, painted cabinets.
Oh.
So it's
okay.
Good and bad.
I brought up visual aid. This is from one of the houses I think that you went through.
Yep.
Because it was in your photos, but we'll post it. But it's like, what does the room look like after you gut it?
Yeah.
It's like, this is literally.
Drywall's gone, both sides of the walls, insulation's gone.
Do you end up having to replace these outlets? Like the outlets are still there.
On my list here, one of the things is if the water got up and touched your outlets or your switches, replace them all. Insurance company will cover it.
Every single one in the whole house.
Every single one in the whole house. During Katrina, they did not replace them all, and it's a big cause of fires.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, okay, because it's corroded?
Because they're corroded. They just rust over time. They thought,
over time.
It's fine.
Okay, and so Katrina's now almost 20 years ago. So now it's causing house fires?
Yep. So also same thing, that they're not going to cause fires, but your coaxial, your cable lines and internet lines and all that, same thing, they'll just rust over time. So just replace them.
even though it's just got to go.
It's just got to go.
Anything that touched the water has to go.
Correct. And this is just a little bonus, being a previous contractor, I would say any water valves coming out of the wall, go ahead and replace those too. They leak all the time.
They end up leaking with age.
Just upgrade that sucker
because the wall is open.
Wall's open, just upgrade.
Is there anything else you would recommend to do while the wall is open? I mean, any changing of your...
Run some extra internet lines or anything.
Extra
maybe,
electrical...
while your floor is up, you could run some outlet into the floor or into your island or something
like a moment.
That. Yeah.
It's like
Put
a moment.
In a pot filler,
right.
in your kitchen.
Okay. What about tile floor?
You can leave it down.
Ceramic tile floor, you can leave down.
It's just going to dry anyways.
It will dry.
Yeah.
Now,
it will take time, but it will dry.
You got in, you took the photos, you brought in the dehumidifiers, which you can rent those too. Like you don't have to get a company.
If you can rent them, do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, you need several. It's a per square foot sort of situation.
And it's a matter of urgency.
You can get by with fewer. It's just going to take longer, but you want to try to get as many fans and dehumidifiers as possible.
Okay.
That is the biggest thing. Get the air in there, get it flowing, box fans, whatever you can.
I guess, and open to, like, you leave the
Open the
doors open
windows.
to the elements,
Yeah.
like getting the flow.
Getting the flow in there.
Okay, but there are companies that will come in and dehumidify.
Correct. Yeah. So you're going to find a lot of people are just going to, they're just going to find a neighborhood. You're going to have contractors flood in from all over the place. These are not all dirt bags. A lot of these people are actually good people. You just kind of have to
Sort through them.
sort through
Some of them
yes.
are dirt bags.
Some
though.
of them are dirt bags. Yes. Hell, make sure they have a social media account or something like that.
Wait, a reference of some kind.
Reference, but a lot of them just travel around from disaster to disaster, and that's their
I
lifestyle.
mean, I understand it's a viable business.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you had a note. I want to make sure we hit it. They're
But
not all dirt bags, but
But yeah, and so in that, they also, they always tell you to get a licensed contractor. And while that is all and good, there's not enough licensed contractor in your area to service everyone.
okay. And this is my question: the gutting and dehumidifying part, people have to do right away. Like, we can't wait for our insurance adjuster.
You're not going to find a licensed guy.
And this
to do
is
that.
the most important thing we're going to say right now. Insurance pays more for that than it actually costs to do.
Correct. In my experience, the amount of money that I saw people charging to gut these houses, I'm like, y'all are robbing.
It's
these people.
inflated, right?
Holy
So
crap,
it's way
it's
more than
inflated.
it should be. Because
Yeah.
how long does it take to gut a 1,500 square foot house?
6, maybe 8 guys. It'll take them maybe a day.
Right. So it should.
Because
And we
they're
don't.
coming in there. They're not being nice to your stuff. So you want to make sure you get out the good stuff before they come
Yeah,
in.
because they're just like a
They're-
tornado.
Yeah.
Okay. But the point is, they're going to tell you it costs X. You won't have talked to your insurance adjuster yet. And then later on, the insurance adjuster is going to be like, yeah, it cost X, but now we say you only get X for the sheetrock and it's not enough.
Yeah.
Like, the numbers don't make sense.
Yeah.
The important part is try to compare prices. I know that you might not, it's going to be hard to get on a list for somebody, but like, can you at least see what is your neighbor paying their crew? Or what is your
Yeah.
person across town? What are they paying their crew? Like,
Yeah. So
Don't
another
just-
thing is you get on the list by he who has the money gets on the list first, gets the attention.
yeah.
Because a lot of people in these times, if you're relying on insurance money, you're waiting on insurance
Yeah.
money.
And you're not going to have that to do the
You're not
flooding,
gonna have
the gutting
it. So
part.
if you have the opportunity to pay it up front or get a HELOC maybe until your insurance money comes in,
Yeah. Even, right. So if you have some equity in your house, you saw a lot of people do that.
Yeah, a lot of people
They were
do that.
taking the equity out of their home.
Because at the very beginning, everybody's going to be gutted real quick, and then all these contractors are going to be waiting for who's got the money
has
to move on.
Okay, wait, that's a great point. All right, so we're moving away from the gutting part. Basically, everyone's paying cash, though, for the gutting because no one has insurance money at that point. And the faster
it takes like 2 to maybe 3-4 weeks. It depends.
the faster you gut your home, the less mold you're going to have.
Yes.
That's why we're doing
Number
this
one,
speedy.
gut it as fast as you can.
Yeah, it's the mold that we're worried about.
Yep.
Okay. Obviously, it's going to dry up, but okay. So that makes a great point. Insurance is going to pay you what insurance is going to pay you. If you plan to continue to live in this home and you have the ability to get a home equity line of credit and start doing that renovation, you're going to get in line in front of these people
You can get
for
the good
you can get the
contractors.
contract. Right. This makes sense though.
It
So
does.
if that's an option for you, your insurance is still going to come back and pay. Then you pay off what you got out of your home. Like, you pay back the HELOC.
Correct. Yeah.
Genius.
hmm
You saw a lot of people do that
Absolutely.
because then you jump in line
hmm
and you get the good contractor and you get back in your house faster.
Yep.
And you get
Because also these contractors aren't banks, so we take deposits.
right. Okay. And all of the stuff, it was hard to find appliances. It was hard to find.
Yeah, you're gonna be
all
it's
of
gonna
the
be
building
hard to find
materials are gonna
appliances
get
in your
bought
area.
up.
That's right.
Right.
The drywall, if you have the ability, buy your drywall as
You
fast as you can.
like order your drywall.
Stack it in your house until
immediately.
it's ready.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, once you've gutted, let's just say, are you able to get your AC back on? Like, what's the story with that?
If it's running, turn it on.
Because once you order the drywall,
even if your condenser unit outside was in water, most of them, I heard lots of people with generators said their condenser unit was still running while it was in water.
with the water.
like submerged in water, because it's just a motor with a fan. It's nothing special.
Well, that means nothing to me, but it's very interesting.
Yeah.
I don't understand like the
And
actual
all the other
mechanism.
components are,
Up in the
well, I mean, that
for
I
us,
don't
it
know
was
where
in
you
the
live.
attic.
Yeah, ours
Yeah.
is in the
Oh,
attic.
that's
I
a
don't know where
good
y'all live. It might be in the basement.
Yeah, because
so.
some of these houses are in the mountains, so I don't.
Yeah, if it's in the basement, you're going to rip the AC ductwork out anyways.
Okay,
So,
interesting.
yes. So if you have a basement and it got down in there, rip all that out.
Yeah, you have to get it all out.
Yep.
The key is the faster you get it out, the less of a problem mold is.
Sump pumps, I bet. I bet
Yes.
you got to rent a bunch of those there.
Yeah. Okay. So interesting.
Yeah.
So again, we're at sea level. We don't have
Yeah.
we don't have all the knowledge you need. We're just giving
Yep.
you some of the things that happened here. What else do you feel like you want to make sure they know?
So I wanted to say that insurance adjusters are, they're just people with a job. They also go from disaster to disaster, working with people in their lowest point in their lives.
Yeah, and it's sort of a thankless job because they're like staying in a hotel.
Yeah.
They're gone for a long
make money
time.
by how many they process, not how accurate it is or how profitable it is, because they don't mess with the profitability. They're just there to measure it. That's it.
They're into quantity, not quality.
Correct. Yeah.
Or speed.
So that being said, just assume it's wrong and it needs to be adjusted the first time. Don't be mad about it. Just say, I know there's going to be an adjustment. This is not going to be final. There's going to be mistakes. Just assume it's coming and roll with it.
So then you need to like go through their adjustment report with like a fine tooth comb.
Correct.
Yeah. Like check their measurements.
So
what's happening?
They're going to come in and measure everything: the linear square footage of all your baseboards, or your square footage of your flooring, and all of your walls and your doors. Just make sure they actually measured everything and accounted for everything.
Okay.
I don't sit there and go through the house with them at all.
No, because it won't change how they do their report.
Yeah.
Okay. But you can ask for corrections to the report.
Correct.
So
or if you want, you can pre-measure the house yourself and give it to them.
So the first answer is not necessarily the answer.
Yes.
Okay.
There are some mistakes all the time. Just things get left off. Like, oh, we put baseboard in this house, in this room over here, but they accidentally left it out of this room over here. Or
I see.
They accidentally put tile over here when it was supposed to be carpet or something like that. It just happens.
Okay.
Because it's just a bunch of check boxes and fill in these numbers and this software and
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think it's okay for someone to gut their own home?
Absolutely.
What are the supplies you need to do that?
Whatever kind of knife you want to use to cut the drywall.
And as long as like the power is off, even if you cut through like a line.
Look, you can wear a dust mask is really just for the dusty part of it. But if you're getting it in there while it's technically still wet or something like that, mold takes time.
I know,
So
but
you're not
Vibro
really-
doesn't take time. They're already seeing reports of that. That bacteria in the water.
Oh, well then wear a mask.
I mean, I think
I would wear a mask.
and like, yeah, heavy amounts of bleach.
Yeah.
Like, just coat yourself in bleach. Okay, mask, no mask, that's fine. All right, a knife. Keep going. What else do you need to gut it yourself?
Hammer, pry bar, a lot of elbow grease.
Hammer, pry bar, friends, elbow grease. Like, do your neighbors together. Like, go to one house, do the next.
Absolutely. Help your neighbors and they'll help you do yours. Because some of it is, it was nice to have one person ripping things out while another person's just carrying out to the street.
Right. You take it out to the street.
There's a lot of walking.
Yeah. And then I guess a wheelbarrow would help.
A wheelbarrow
if you
would
had
help.
one.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's where a lot of the hired labor is strictly just walking it to the street. Because by the time you're carrying it all, it's
heavy.
thousands of pounds of material.
Right. What's the whole?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're gonna tackle, what if the water was higher than just under 4 feet? What if it went up to?
You're just going higher
What
on
if
the
it went up to
drywall
your
and then you're getting the upper
ceiling?
cabinets.
Like then you got to do the ceiling.
Yeah.
You didn't do any of those.
No, we didn't get any.
I mean, we had some houses that flooded to the ceiling.
If it gets up to the ceiling, it's your entire house.
You just got to gut.
You got to go
all the
way to
drywall
front.
has to go.
All insulation. Oh, so speaking of, you need to make sure that you also get behind your tubs, your fiberglass insert tubs.
Mm-hmm.
There's drywall behind there and insulation. So
it's been wet.
Yep, got to come out.
Lots of houses here did not.
Correct. Same
pull
thing
those
with bricks on the fireplace or tile in the fireplace. Got to come out. They're going to pay you to put it back.
Wait, the tile on the fireplace has to come out?
There's drywall insulation behind it. And if you cut right up to that edge, it is very difficult to make that look nice again as well.
Yeah, it's hard to redo.
They're going to pay you to replace it. Just do it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I didn't think about the fireplace. Mm-hmm. Okay. What else you got?
I think I got it all.
You got all your notes?
I think so.
Okay. I am going to take a second to say, Alyssa and I are going to come back and likely do a second bonus episode that talks more about the impacts of the market, like from a real estate perspective, and like what we saw and what we still see 8 years later, and like, you know, what that means and what you might want to look out for as an agent. So we will come back and talk about that maybe in a couple of weeks. Right now, it is just more like we urgently wanted to help anyone who maybe could avoid losing money, could avoid being taken advantage of, could get in there and potentially even help themselves.
Yep.
And if that is you and you're confused by something that we said here, by all means, send an email. We're happy to assist you with our knowledge base as much as we can. Jay would love to answer your emails.
Sure.
Share this with your friends. It'll be okay. I'm like so traumatized from what we saw that.
And if you are in one of these flooded houses, you can technically live in the house after it's gutted and dried. Seen many people do it.
Yes. As long as it's not growing mold.
I mean, as long as it's not growing mold, you just put your bed back in there and they're washing dishes in the tub,
Yeah, we've seen it.
You can do it because you can't find hotels a lot of times.
Right, it'll be hard. And if you're doing any of the work yourself to fix it up. Okay, while we're on that.
And don't ask your contractor to fix it room to room. They're not going to do it.
Yeah, well, it'll cost more too.
Yeah.
And take longer. The mold. Let's just talk about the mold really quick. Companies came in here and posted signs everywhere. Mold treatment and certificates.
Yes, you do not need that garbage.
Yeah, and a certificate does not change anything. Most what we saw, and Alyssa and I will talk about this in the next one, buyers later on are still going to want to get a mold inspection, a mold test done, like during a purchase. So you having a certificate.
A certificate now doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything. No, it
now.
doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, doesn't mean
so
anything.
Don't waste your money on a certificate, but you do.
There's if you're gutting it before mold is even happening, if the water came and then it went back out and it's just wet and you're gutting that, there's no mold. You don't need to go spray a moldicide, whatever the
oh yeah, what's it called?
You know what I mean? They
Fungicide?
spray something like that. Yeah, we spray it on lots of stuff. But
what if you're just nervous? Can you?
Sure.
People sprayed it with what? Also bleach?
Knock yourself out. Yeah. Can't hurt anything.
What about
open the windows and ventilate?
Yeah, please don't. Yeah, don't literally knock yourself out.
Correct. If you're living in the house, don't.
Please don't do that. What about like? I know here. Do people have to redo their termite treatment because they treat when a house gets built, they treat the studs. I don't know if that applies.
It would be a good time to redo it, honestly.
Yeah, anything that happens during the construction phase of a house when it's just studs, this is your moment, right?
Yeah, this is your moment.
This is your moment to make a change.
Also, this is not the time when you think you can get away with upgrading your house on their dime. It doesn't work.
No, but you could put
what you have in your house.
I think that's a great point. You can put your own money into it and make changes or upgrades.
Correct, or do some of the work yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So there is an opportunity there. I mean, I think it's so hard to be patient when you're dealing with this and you're like in an uncomfortable living situation and you want to just hurry and get it done. But we see so many houses now 8 years later where you're like, it's obviously from the flood. The finishes are not probably what these people wanted to pick and make it harder to sell later. Yeah. So it's kind of like, I mean, dealing with a little bit longer of pain or maybe putting a little bit more of your money into it, if you can, is worth it for the value of your house later.
Yep.
Okay. You got it all?
I think so.
Thank you for coming here and letting me interview you.
You're welcome.
I can't wait to see how you edit it. Again, if anyone needs anything, please send us an email. We're happy to chat about it or give you any resources we have or can find.
Yeah.
You good?
I think so.
Okay, I hope everyone is safe out there and you get back in your home really quickly.
Yep.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Hustle Humbly podcast.
If you enjoyed this episode, please go to ratethispodcast.com/hustlehumbly and leave us a review or drop a comment if you're listening on Spotify.
If you have an episode topic or someone you'd like to toast on the show, please email us at team@hustlehumblypodcast.com.
Find us on social media at Hustle Humbly Podcast. Don't forget to find all of the free resources at hustlehumblypodcast.com/resources.
See you next week.